welcome to the Pig and Whistle Tales from Azeroth. As always here at the Pig and Whistle Inn in Stormwind, I go through a variety of subjects with regards to World of Warcraft. So grab a bottle or a pint, sit back and enjoy. This episode we'll be going over the What Are sort of series, and we're going to be looking at what are mages, what are their roles in PvP, PvE, do they have any RP elements, pros and cons, do they have pets, their specializations, what's good about them specializations and what's bad, etc. So, the Mage is your out-and-out DPS class, your sorcerer class, your caster class, it is the true wizard of World of Warcraft. You obviously have many wizards that people refer to, warlocks, shamans can be, boomkins, but Mage is the sort of, in every sort of fantasy, the wizard class, as it were. You have three specializations. You have arcane, frost, and fire. Frost is your more PvE sort of style. If you go back to Wrath of the Lich King anyway, it's more of the PvE, or PvP I should say. Fire and arcane are your PvP, or PvE in classic, but it's flipped over, I think. I think Frost has become a very niche sort of specialization, but Fire and arcane are your kind of PvP go-tos, fire mostly. I think with Frost and arcane, it's a lot more casting, and it's a lot more, you'd play it with a caster setup, so a warlock, or like an evoker, or a boomkin, anything like that stands there and casts, and can ultimately, you play in a triangle formation, whereas fire is a lot more active in the fight. You can get in there for polymorphs with rogue mage priest, anything that's sort of a setup comp. Fire is a lot more adapted to like utilizing that setup to deal damage and sustaining the crowd control that it gets. This being said, fire obviously is focused on fire spells such as fireball, pyroblast, living flame, fire blast, etc. Frost, you're looking at Frozen Orb, Ice Lance, Glacial Spike, Frostbolt. Arcane, you're looking at Arcane Barrage, Arcane Blast, Arcane Missiles, etc. They all tend to stay within their relative spell school, essentially, so Arcane, Fire, and Frost. Fire is, like I said, a bit more of the mobile type of caster, whereas the other two, Frost and Arcane, are your standstill caster type DPS when it comes to actually doing your best sort of rotational damage spells. Although Fire at the moment is more of a cast fireball kind of deal in order to get big bits of damage out, big, hits of damage. We obviously have... For PvP, all of the mage specializations are very good at one point or another. If one isn't good, then one will be. If two aren't good, then there's still one that is very solid. There is never a specialization of mage that is bad in PvP. It is really loved by Blizzard, I would say. It's one of the most loved specs, and it gets a lot of attention because people do associate it with having, just all the devs playing Mage, essentially, so they're making it busted or anything like that. Now, they do have a lot of crowd control in Ring of Frost, Polymorph, Dragon's Breath, Frost Novas, which is a route. You have multiple ways of, pushing people back with Blast Wave, etc. But the only thing that they don't have, CC-wise, is a stun, hence why a lot of CC setup, comps that mages are in, will go for something with a rogue, because the rogue is there to stun the target for the kill, or a warrior with Stormbolt, stuff like that. That way they have something to lock down the target and kill it, rather, because they can CC everything else, but essentially it's no good if the target is running away and doing nothing, and is not in line of the mage to kill and stunned, etc. So, in PvP, they are, like I said, very much always a staple point in the meta. If Mage is very good, it's more of a CC-based meta, or an oppressive meta, in my opinion. If Mage is bad, then I would say it's more of an open and free meta. That's my personal opinion on it. I feel mages are very annoying to play against with counterspell, with their blinks, their shields, their immunity and ice block, their cooldown reduction through shifting power, they have a lot of utility, and this utility is why they are usually very good in PvP. In PvE, they are very much the same at the moment. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mythic Plus wise, Fire Mage is the go-to right now. Purely on the basis that the AoE damage that they can put out is immense with an augmentation evoker. I could be completely making that up, but I'm pretty sure most Mythic Plus groups at the moment are looking for a very good mage to just pump damage, and it is literally, you are pressing Flame Strike over and over. You proc your instant Flame Strikes, and then you just keep pressing over and over, and your damage essentially just skyrockets. It's absolutely crazy. They are very good in the meta right now. PvP wise, they very much are, and PvE wise, for Mythic Plus anyway, I know that they're very good at. Raid wise, I'm not too sure. I would imagine they're still very solid though. Looking at roleplay wise, obviously you're very much the wizard. You're in a long robe, a pointy hat, that kind of deal. You can cast your portals. You can conjure food. You can make mirror images of yourself. You have ice block, which is your immunity. There's a lot of roleplay elements to mages, being the true wizard class, which is really cool. But yeah, they are just very annoying to deal with. Sorry, every time I talk about a mage, it just I revert back to like, oh my god, they are ridiculously annoying to try and kill or deal with, etc. But the pros and cons of mages are the pros that they have a lot of CC. Their setup game is amazing. Their damage is very good right now. On all three specs, actually, it's very solid and in a very good place. The cons, obviously, if you're fire, you have a bit less health, but you can offset that by how good you are with kiting, shielding, using your defensive cooldowns pretty effectively. The cons is probably you have stuff that can blow you up very quickly. Marksman Hunter is one of them. Druids, like feral druids, are also very annoying to try and deal with, as they are very mobile. You can't polymorph them, you can't root them, etc. And that's always been a staple point throughout the entirety of World of Warcraft, feral druids against a mage. You obviously have stuff that can connect, that will kill you. So DKs, if they can connect, warriors will eventually kill you if they can. Paladins, all of the stuff that can hit very hard. On a clothy target, you are a very squishy clothy target, so you do take a lot more physical damage, but it is offset by how well, like I said, you can use your defensives, your kiting abilities, etc. So the pros are your defensives, your utility, your damage, but the cons are you can just blow up randomly at points to any sort of damage, so you've got to be very much on top of it if you're looking at a defensive point of view. But that is it for this episode. Thank you all very much for listening. As always, check out everything down below. You have the socials, TikTok, Twitch, YouTube, as well as the support the show down below. It's very much appreciated if you click that button. But thank you all very much for listening, and go Valor friend. Goodbye all.